Angry guy here, and Brick Lady is facing 10 years in prison. Guys, if you're enjoying the content, please help get the channel to 100,000 subscribers in our journey to 2 million by subscribing to the channel if you already haven't, liking the video, and turning on notifications. Never miss another video ever again. Now let's begin. Brick Lady is facing 10 years in prison. Let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Says he attacked her after she refused to give him her cell phone number, all while a crowd of men stood there watching.
I want to apologize for being defensive and not being brutally honest and acknowledging two things from the jump.
$42,000 when you steal anywhere between $30,000 and $150,000 in the state of Texas, that's a third-degree felony. So she's looking at anywhere from a minimum of 2 years to a maximum of 10 years in the state penitentiary.
It made it seem like men were trash because it didn't come to her aid.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. This Brick Lady thing has really brought out some of the worst in people, just in being stuck and not being able to apologize. But just so happens that several people that had a very aggressive tone towards the people that were critical of the Brick Lady when it happened back in September have kind of flipped, and now some of them are having to apologize. When, if they had just listened to us, we wouldn't have even had to be here. Y'all gotta start listening to black men. Let's take a look at how they started versus where they are today. This is Isaiah, the Isaiah Factor.
To anybody in my life to deserve this? Literally, a man asked me for my number. I said no, and he picked up a brick in front of so many men and was like, "What you gonna do?" And I told all these men,
what you gonna do?
Why is this man got a brick on my face?
According to her social media, this happened over the weekend. We reached out to HPD for some information. Public relations specialist Bridget Holden, Latoya Lemon, along with pastor and journalist Dr. Ruth Olson. Glad to all have you here on the Fact Rooms. When you guys see this, and
First off, what's going on with that lady's hair right there?
she's saying there were a group of men standing around, probably on their damn cell phones, looking to get the shot instead of trying to protect a woman. Your thoughts on this?
He said probably on their damn cell phones instead of helping. That sounds logical, right? Is that what we really do out here doing? We're trying to have people believe that dudes are just so cowardly that they're gonna be standing around on their cell phones taking a video? Okay.
I feel like black women being protected these days. I mean, but then I don't know if you watch social media, but then there are a lot of women on here who are saying, well, I don't need a man and I don't need this and I don't need that. So we kind of have to take accountability. If we're out here saying that, then are the men going to protect us? But I thought that chivalry is, I guess, is dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
But who killed chivalry? If it is in fact dead, I would say women most likely killed chivalry. You'll get knocked over if you try to open the door for a woman nowadays. Have you ever tried? This is the thing, like, these are the ideas that they don't actually put into the criticism that they bring. But mind you, this is September. We're gonna see how they act now.
First of all, someone hitting her with a brick because she refused to give their number, if all the facts are correct.
Absolutely. So I understand
He at least said if all the facts are correct.
rejection is hard, right? But my real issue here, of course, I don't condone any violence and I don't like it, but the men that stood around and watched, people are no longer getting any type of help in situations that they need help in. People are not being decent. People are making everything a joke, everything a moment to go viral. And this could have been, this is this lady's health, you know, this could have went even worse, and she could still be in the hospital with severe damages. And so to see that nobody helped her, I mean, that's heartbreaking completely.
And of course, Dr. Olson, we're talking about a new generation that's not used to rejection, not playing the old school rule games where you just keep trying, And then you have people who, if they see someone who's in trouble, they think videotaping it is their response to helping them out, and that's not the case.
Yeah, they're all of a sudden citizen journalists instead of helping. I want to just express so much compassion for this young lady, and I also want to express a lot of concern for where we are if people can stand around and watch that. We do have to get involved. She asked a question in that. She said, what did I ever do to deserve this? Nothing. You didn't do anything to deserve.
Boy, what a difference a day makes when you think about where she is now versus where she was then.
That. So we want to put that out there. And also let's make an appeal that let's help people.
Right.
We've got to get back involved. That's who we are. A lot of the social media has separated us, and a lot of us think, well, it's just me. It's all about me. It's you going viral. It's one thing for sure. She made the right decision in not giving him her phone number.
Remember that plea on social media. You may remember when we covered her story last September. Brigitte, you and I were duped too. Yep. We fell for it like a damn fool. She claimed the man threw a brick at her because she wouldn't give him her phone number. But investigators say the attack never happened. Joining us to talk about it, publicist Brigitte Holden, attorney Ricky Hernandez.
Still got that same hair. We got to do some research to find out if that's real. That's quite impressive if it is, I guess. It's interesting looking.
She was in Jamaica.
Yeah, she was.
Tell us about that video she posted. How long ago did she post that video?
I want to say that was
the Jamaica video was old, so unfortunately they got that wrong.
There's a lot of stuff around this case that just didn't feel right from the jump, and even more so as we came into the last few days.
And Ricky Hernandez, when you look at this from a criminal perspective, what is she looking at here? What is HPD charged her with? What does that mean?
Right, so she's been charged with theft by deception. So theft is a crime that, based on basically the amount of money stolen, that's going to affect the degree of the crime, right? So with her crime in particular, she's stolen, as Brigitte said, $42,000. When you steal anywhere between $30,000
plus all the cash apps and Venmo she collected, that can't be left out of this equation, because she probably collected just as much in those places, allegedly.
and $150,000 in the state of Texas, that's a third-degree felony. So she's looking at anywhere from a minimum of 2 years to a maximum of 10 years in the state penitentiary.
That's interesting to hear. 2 to 10 years is a penalty that goes along with this if she is convicted, which is interesting. I wonder why they set the bond so low. The bond was only $10,000. So I initially thought that would be, she had to come up with the $10,000 and her bond was actually $100,000, but her bond was only $10,000, which makes me think that they're not really taking it that seriously in her being a flight risk or her being, released on her own recognizance. Because she only has to come up with 10% of that, which is, what, $1,000.
What would her attorney have to come into court and show that she did not commit fraud or deception here?
Right, so basically the way it's written now is in the complaint, it has not been indicted yet, but is that she unlawfully appropriated basically the property of GoFundMe. So she would have to prove that she basically received the property, or in this case it's cash money. She would have to prove that she received those profits lawfully. But I mean, as it seems now, those profits were obtained by deception, and if that's the case, then she's probably guilty.
Yeah, and that goes to all the people that are still defending her that say, oh, well, she didn't receive the money, so she's not guilty. Like I said, they're doing the investigation based on some of the other money she received as well. And
guys, here's what's really interesting about this. I made a video where I talked about black men are celebrating the arrest of Brick Lady, and there were a bunch of other interesting characters that popped up in the comments. White guys, they wanted to make it very clear that they were also celebrating the arrest of Brick Lady. You see, it's a celebration right now on all fronts. One guy pointed out that she was going around putting her hands, connecting her hand with the face of white guys. So they weren't very pleased about that. And just in general, they don't like her. So every man is basically celebrating the arrest of this woman right now. And as you can see, I mean, many of you would say are in complete and utter denial. You're like, oh, it'll never happen. Guys, she is facing 10 years in prison. She's facing a minimum of 2 years, a maximum of 10 years. The thing is that this is not her first fraud. She has done this before. She has a history, a long history of stealing from people, setting up fake campaigns and getting people to donate. This is not her first rodeo. There are so many videos of her doing this in society. So for you to say that, oh, nothing's going to happen, maybe she might get a little bit of community service. You have to think about this. They went to great lengths to investigate her. They went to great lengths to charge her. So I don't think so. I don't think she's going to just walk away from this. I honestly believe that this woman is going to probably do some jail time. Will she end up getting the 10 years? Probably not. Is she going to get some jail time? I think she's going to get the minimum. The reason why I've said this before, she'll go before the judge and she'll start crying her eyes out. Think about how she operates. She literally sat there on TikTok crying her eyes out. It's going to be really hard, fellas. It's going to be really hard because this is what she's known to do, deceive. And people are going to watch her videos going around doing these things in public, lying, crying, and she's going to sit on the witness stand crying and please, and I know I'm sorry, and I won't do it again. Guys, she could turn. This is the thing that we are taught about women. This is why the manosphere is so important. Because you learn that women can turn on the tears at will. They can turn them on and turn them off whenever they feel like it. Whenever they feel like it. Think about how many men have had their lives completely destroyed because a woman was able to turn on the tears before a police officer, before a judge, before even a family member or father, and these men are no longer with us. Think about it right now. And the Sims can't stop, won't stop. They will not stop. You know, something I experienced recently is that there are a lot of these men who celebrate being weak. They want other men to be weak as well. These men, they are very, very weak men. They are perpetually, they love the victim culture because they cannot be strong. They will not be strong. These guys are not guys that value going to the gym. They don't value taking care of yourself. They don't value building wealth. These men they're not a model for society. These are the guys who are responsible for the destruction of society. And Jay Peterson, he actually said something. He said this is the way that they survive. And it may be difficult for us to comprehend, but you have to understand we're not like these men. This is how they survive. This is how these men survive. They are basically scavengers. And whatever the women leave behind in Western society, you know, they go and pick up the scraps. So whatever the feminists, are able to take from men, they'll go alongside the feminists like, I'm a feminist too. I'm a feminist too. I'm a feminist too. I'm also a victim. I'm this victim. I'm that victim. Okay. You passed. You can come and have a little nibble. And they're happy to pick up the scraps. They're happy to go and pick up the scraps. That's how these dudes are. That's how they survive. You know? But this woman is facing some time. And no one is crying for her. No one is reaching out saying, okay, yeah, maybe we should give her a second shot. No, not really. I honestly think she's going to end up going to jail. And I think she's going to go on the witness stand. She's going to turn on the tears. She's going to be there sitting in court, crying her eyes out. And people are going to watch the videos. That's all the prosecutors have to do. Just play her videos and show that there was a history of this behavior. And no one is going to believe her because she is a professional liar. You know, she created this situation for herself. She created this reality for herself. And no one's really going to come and bail her out on this one. And of course, all these women who turned around and said terrible things and said that, you know, the black guys did this, the black guys stood around. Where are they? They're all vanished. They refuse. They won't even show themselves. They won't even come back and refute what they've said. They won't even admit that they were wrong. If anything, they will just turn around and use it to double down. This is the reason why MWA is so important. This is why men are walking away from Western society or relationships in Western society. These passport kings, when they go overseas, they're not coming back. I said this already, that these men they're going to build empires overseas. They're going to create new communities and they're going to build their empires overseas. That's really what's going to happen. You know, We talk about Mr. Trump, and the truth is that regardless if it's him or Biden, Trump is only a band-aid. He's not the solution. People think he's the solution. He's not the solution. Because once the people have been corrupted, that's really it. And let me make this clear: just because the left is always wrong doesn't mean the right is always right, because the right is often wrong. It's just different. Both sides are a bunch of lunatics. It's just choose your flavor. Just because the left is worse doesn't mean the right is a whole lot better. Okay? Let me just make that really, really clear. Because so much of what is happening in Western society, how did it happen? The right allowed it to happen. Everything that has happened here, these people voted for it. They voted for it. They compromised for it so they can line their pockets with money. Guys, if you're enjoying this content, please help get the channel to 100,000 subscribers on our journey to 2 million by subscribing to the channel if you already haven't, liking the video, and turning on notifications to never miss another video ever again. Brick Lady is facing 10 years in prison. What do you guys think regarding this? I want to know your thoughts. Let's talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.